The following is a presentation of Muddy River Sports.
Are you ready? Hey, think you can tell us what to do? Bow to the masters. Break it down!
It's time to break it down. This is the Muddy River Breakdown with Chuck Daddy and D.O.B. I'm the daddy, and he's the D.O.B.
That's me.
That's you. How are you, buddy?
I'm good.
What's going on this rainy Tuesday?
Well, it's not going to be rainy Tuesday when these people listen to it. They can listen to this anytime. It could be snowing out, Chuck, and somebody goes back to this in December.
As we sit in the Muddy Buddy studio on this Tuesday taping this, recording this,
yes,
because there's no tape. So as we record this, it's been rainy out today.
It's the most wonderful month of the year.
It is a beautiful month.
Because it was just your birthday.
And it is your birthday coming up.
Yes. On Wednesday.
Yes, Wednesday of this week.
What did your boss get you for your birthday? What did Mr. Goff get you for your birthday?
Took me out to lunch.
Where'd we go?
We went to the scoreboard.
Oh, maybe I should see if I can get a scoreboard. Although I'm just a part-timer. This is just my side hustle, Mr. Shuckman.
You're a valuable member of the Muddy River team.
Okay.
And your boss will be treating you to lunch.
Are you my boss?
Yes, I'm your boss.
Yay!
And you get a pick.
Ooh. So I had a radio interview earlier this week with WGIL in Galesburg.
Did Jay Redfern do the interview with you?
No, he did not.
Oh, darn.
He did not. It was Tom Meredith.
Okay.
And,
Tom's a good guy, too.
Yes, he's a very nice guy.
Yes.
So that was in my BBB, my Better Business Bureau capacity.
Right.
So if we were in Galesburg, where we'd be going for lunch.
Happy Joe's. Or Hungry Hobo. No?
Well.
Okay, what am I missing?
Coney Island.
Coney Island. Oh, I should have known that.
Coney Island. So I didn't mention Coney Island by name on there, but I'll name it by name on here. But okay, so if you're ever in Galesburg,
yes,
have you been to Coney Island before or no?
Yes.
Okay.
It's been a while. It's been a while since I've been there.
The place has literally been there for over 100 years.
Right.
It's like this is their 101st year. It started in like 19. It started. Think about that. That place started right after World War I was over.
Yep.
It survived the Depression. And as far as I know, it's been in the same spot right in downtown Galesburg the entire time on Cherry Street.
It's the only place I've known it to be. I mean, obviously.
Yes, me too. I've been around 52 years now.
Yeah.
And it's the only place that I remember it being. So if you like hot dogs, especially Coney dogs, they've got an old Sports Illustrated poster of Jim Sundberg up in the corner.
That's awesome.
So if it ever closes, I want dibs on that.
That poster's been there for a while.
That poster's been there since it was probably made in 1977.
Yeah, I would guess so.
So yes. So where would I want to go in Quincy for lunch?
You have to think about it.
Probably one of the fine sponsors of Muddy River News and Sports.
Of course. Well, you have some time to think about that.
So happy birthday, belated to you.
Well, thank you, and happy early birthday to you.
Did you get anything?
Yeah, it was a good weekend. It was good. I worked. That was my birthday.
Sheesh.
But my birthday fell on a Saturday. What are you doing on a Saturday in the fall?
Well, you got to work.
There's a lot going on. So
can I tell you what I bought myself?
What'd you buy yourself?
I bought myself some bobbleheads.
Did you? Which ones?
I found it at a yard sale here in town.
Okay.
I found Fighting Illini bobbleheads. They had
I saw you.
The 5-pack of the Flying Illini from '89 and the 2005 Final Four team.
Oh, cool.
So I bought those. I bought those as a treat to myself.
That's a nice treat to yourself.
Yes. I'm not a big bobblehead guy, but I love those. Those teams were great.
So Michelle and I's anniversary is also this month.
Yes.
So I made sure we're getting some new patio furniture.
What year are we on in Team Shuckman?
Year 12.
Oh.
So.
Getting up there.
Feels like 35. No.
Feels like yesterday. It feels like none.
No, it's been a good run. So she hasn't kicked me out yet.
Team O'Brien just passed 28.
Is that what it is?
Oh, my God. What is she thinking? What was she
thinking? And you've spent the last few days prior to us meeting here in the Muddy Buddy studio. You've spent the last couple of days on the road with the prodigy, Reed O'Brien.
College
visits.
Time. So, yeah. So it's
were these like official visits that you had somebody show you around campus and?
Yeah.
Okay.
We went. We did the whole thing. Went to Illinois State on Saturday and SIUE on Monday. Don't know if we're going to look at any more. He's wanting to go into education, so those are two good schools to do that at.
And did he like both?
Yeah, he liked both.
Okay.
Probably liked Illinois State a little bit better. Okay. Although as I said, hey, #non-committed.
Well, okay, I'm going to tell you this. If he chooses to be an Illinois State Redbird, we'll have to get him in touch with a good friend, Brad Tomhave.
Yes.
Who is an Illinois State graduate.
Okay.
The head boys basketball coach at Pittsfield.
Mm-hmm.
And he can tell Reed all the places he should go.
And the one places he shouldn't.
And the places he shouldn't.
Well, I already know one place he shouldn't go, and I can't even remember the name of the place. But Eric Irvin goes over there all the time for basketball because he covers Notre Dame basketball for one of the radio stations here in town. He told us some good place to go to eat. It was terrible.
Do you remember what it was?
I don't know. Some bar. It was awful.
Okay.
Some awful bar. So,
well, Reed doesn't need to be going to bars.
No, he's too young.
He's too young.
He
has to stay on. He has to stay on the straight and narrow.
He has to just do his bookwork.
Yes.
Study. Go to the library.
That's right.
Stay away from all those shenanigans.
If there's a bar called the Library, even better.
There was in Champaign.
Was there?
The Champaign. Okay, so when I was living in Champaign in the early '90s, talking about college town, college life, they had a bar called the Library in Champaign at the time.
Okay.
And they also had the bar called the Office. And of course, this is before the Office, the TV show, is out.
Right.
But so you could say, where you at, honey? Well, I'm at the Office. Not lying. You where you at? I'm at the Library. Not lying. Maybe
like
not that library or not that office.
But I like that.
Yes.
That's a good call. Us Mizzou guys didn't have that luxury. We didn't have any places called the Library or the Office to go and imbibe. But we found plenty of other places.
Where is the place to drink in Columbia?
These days, I've been gone a while now. So
back in the day,
Harpo's.
Okay, because that's where everybody's going to send money.
Harpo's was the on football game day. That's where everybody went to go get your drink on Fieldhouse, because they would do penny pitchers.
Penny and Outs pictures.
Yeah.
That's Thirsties in Charleston.
And then
Penny and Outs Thursday night, Penny and Outs Natty Lights, 70-ounce pictures, 70 cents.
Yeah.
I don't know if they do that anymore, probably because they probably can't do that anymore because of
but when they did it at Fieldhouse, it was like, okay, they would holler out penny pitchers and for like 30 minutes.
Oh. No, this is all night.
Oh, okay.
Thirsties also had $1 bottles on Wednesdays.
There was a place in Columbia called the Thirsty Turtle, which was always fun to go to.
Maybe it was 50-cent bottles back in the day. I think it was 50-cent bottles back in the day. Because when I first moved to Quincy, when I first moved to Quincy in the late 90s, there used to be a rotation. Every night you go somewhere and find $1 bottles.
Okay.
I don't think you can do that anymore.
We had quarter beer night at Harpo's. I believe it was Thursday nights.
Is that place huge?
It's good sized. I mean, but it's a true Mizzou bar. It's a Mizzou sports bar. I mean, that's all.
Well, that's where Chase Daniel was going to send money, and somebody else actually did wind up sending money there after they lost the game against Georgia to help people drown their sorrows.
Yep.
College was a good time. I wouldn't want to go back and do it again, but for the time of my life I had a good time.
I did too.
So I hope he finds as good as time as that I did.
He will. He'll find his way.
Yes.
So, but in the middle of all that going on, we've taken a headfirst dive into the postseason on the local sports scene.
Can you believe it?
Golf season's over. Like, I know they moved up the state tournament series to try to avoid bad weather later in October.
Can we get rid of the cuts, please?
No question.
I mean, has IHSA looked at that at all?
This is their third year of doing it.
So they did it in 21. So
they did it pre-COVID. 19.
Okay.
21, 22 now.
So they're probably not going to do anything with it.
Probably not. But like this year, and I'd have to go back and double check the numbers. And I wrote about it last year when it happened and broke down the numbers. I believe it was like 24 kids in one of the classifications got cut.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
That's 8 threesomes.
Or if you go foursomes,
6.
It's six tee times.
And those would be the people at the. Wouldn't you put? I guess you could put your leaders off first if you wanted to do it that way. If you thought you thought they were going to slow things down, you could. You could totally reverse it. You could put the leaders off first. Everybody's in, and then when those.
But here's the deal. I did a shuck on a truck this week with Blake Arnold, the Liberty golfer who. Best Liberty golfer in school history, tied for 13th at the state tournament. Highest finish by an Eagle ever. And he and I were talking about that. And obviously he was there as an individual. He made the cut.
Had he ever been cut previously?
I don't think so. I know he didn't last year. I can't remember his freshman year.
Okay.
But he has a lot of guys. He's friends with a lot of the golfers. And he felt really bad for the kids, especially the kids from Quincy Notre Dame, who he's played with a lot, for the guys that got cut, and he was he kept just shaking his head at why are they doing this? Why are they doing this to these kids? If you make it to the state tournament, you've earned the right to play both days.
Correct.
That's it. I mean, it's simple as that. If you've played well enough through regionals and sectionals to get there, you deserve to play both days.
What is the Illinois High School Association's reasoning for the?
What's their reasoning for anything?
I don't know. I mean, they got to have something.
I'm to the point now, and I've been tried to be a loyal defender of the IHSA over the years of trying to understand why they do things, trying to believe that they're doing it for the right reasons and that kind of stuff. And then I started looking into like this year's soccer postseason pairings. Quincy High is in a 9-team subsectional.
Okay.
They're the 7 seed.
Yes.
Now, you could argue they should have been higher or lower, what.
But that's where they're at.
But that's where the voting led them, okay? 7 should play 2, right?
You would assume so, yes.
8 and 9 would be the play-in game.
7 plays 2.
7 plays 2.
Quarterfinal.
No, not in the IHSA's world. Now, granted, all these teams are from the same geographic area because they're in the subsectional. So it's not you're taking a team from Chicago and putting them in the Metro East subsectional.
So 7 playing, hopefully 9.
So 7 is playing 9 in the play-in game, and the winner gets the number 1 seed.
Well, why wouldn't 7, 9?
Because that's what the IHSA did. And the reasoning behind it was...
Who's 9?
Granite City.
Who's 8?
I don't remember off the top of my head.
But it was in a Metro East school.
Yes.
Why wouldn't Metro East school play Metro East school and Quincy go down and play the 2 seed in the first round?
I don't know. Good question. And it's been asked of the IHSA, and the explanation was, well, this is how the computer arranged it. Why? Okay, why are you doing seeds if you don't follow them? If you're not going to follow the seeds, then just have the computer randomize it and do here's your 9 teams and here's who's playing each other.
Yeah,
because the seeds obviously don't matter that much if you're not following them.
That's weird. Is Notre Dame's regional the same way, or is theirs like normal?
I think theirs is normal. But I looked at some of the other sectionals, and it's crazy. There's a couple of them. There's at least one, that a 10 seed has a spot in the regional semifinals, but a 7 seed doesn't. A 7
seed has to do a play-in
7 has to do a play-in game, but a 10 seed gets automatically into the regional semifinals.
Well,
it just doesn't make any sense. And so it goes back to the cuts at the state tournament, the issues with the seedings. You have to ask, what are you doing, IHSA? What are you doing? Because you're supposed to be about fairness, equality, and what's best for the student athlete.
Yes, they're trying to enrich the student athlete experience.
Correct.
And you're not doing that.
No.
Another thing that we saw last year, and we're going to see it again this year, and I don't know if they're going to change it, is the way the state basketball tournaments are set up.
Yes.
With that 3rd and 4th place game on the same day as
ridiculous
as the quarter or the semifinal games.
And I would hope the fact that they caught so much grief over that they change it.
They're not this year. They're going forward with it.
They're staying with it. I know.
Yeah, as normal. Because last year had Quincy High School beaten Bolingbrook, they would have been in the state semifinal against. Was it Glenbrook North?
Glenbrook North.
Is that
the number 1 ranked team that won a state
honest,
title?
We would have the Devils would have been in that 3rd and 4th place game.
Correct.
And then they would have been done on that Friday night, and they would
Thursday night they would have played on Friday.
So
but you have if you're a 1A 2A team and you're playing on Thursday, you play your semifinal and then turn around and play your 3rd place game that night, and then you go home.
Yep. State final experience over.
Yeah,
they've got to look at that better. They've taken away the 3-point contest.
Yeah,
I think the dunk contest is dead now, right?
Yes,
it's been dead.
Dunk contest has been dead for a while.
So they got rid of the 3-point contest. So that those things aren't around anymore.
And I think that everybody's fine with that. Like the 3-point contest was more of a distraction for a lot of teams than it was anything else.
Well, a lot of teams just sent their seniors out that they didn't play, or the kids that didn't play. Here's something for you guys to do to try to advance in the postseason.
Yep.
They weren't really sending out the cream of the crop.
Right.
Although some did. I mean, Tony Serta's kid won it all last year. He was the king of the hill.
Yeah.
Cole Serta from Bloomington Central Catholic.
And he can shoot it.
He can shoot it even better than his old man. That's saying something because Tony was he was a shooter.
That's right.
So they've just got to do something. I mean, I don't like to cut it to golf.
No. To me, that's the most egregious of the errors of the ones that we're discussing, where when it comes to whether following the seedings or playing the third place game the same night as the semifinals, and okay, cutting kids at the state golf tournament when you've achieved reaching, it's a 36 hole tournament at state.
It's not like 72.
And I'm sorry. What are you delaying on Saturday an extra hour to get those other tee times in?
And why couldn't you just flip it and let the leaders go off? Those kids here at the back of the pack, they're probably all mostly going to be individuals or people on scoring teams that aren't going to matter in the score anyway.
Right.
So you can still figure out your winners early and get people out of there.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
So anyway, the IHSA does many, 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 many good things.
It does,
and we're harping on a couple bad things here.
Yes,
but it's stuff that nonetheless.
It's stuff that impacts kids.
Yes,
and that's the bottom line. Is we want to see what's best for kids.
Yep, without a doubt.
So with that in mind, we get kick started into the other postseason events this week. So we got golf done.
Okay, here I'm back actually. So we're going to go back to one of our first broadcasts.
Yes, sir.
And you say you on this very podcast, you said Quincy Notre Dame boys soccer team is going to win the whole thing. Now we're here, so it's do or die time for them.
Yep.
Are you sticking with that?
I am sticking with it.
What's their path look like?
They go north, so I think that helps them.
Okay.
So they're going to avoid the Belleville Altoffs. They're going to avoid the Sacred Heart Griffins. There are good teams as you go north. But I think their path is more manageable.
Are they healthy?
That's the question mark.
Yes.
Because Tanner Anderson's been nursing an injury.
The two best soccer players in town at the high school level are both a little dinged up.
Yes.
Tanner obviously has missed some time, and
yes.
on the other side of Carter
Vemberlo was
missed some time for Quincy High.
Correct.
So the for the Raiders, who are kicking it off this week.
Yes.
They can still make it through.
I truly believe so. I truly believe they have the weapons to do so offensively, and they've got a couple guys in back playing center backs right now in Jake Hoyt and Colin Kirk, who are very good. And they got an experienced keeper in Max Frericks.
And they're in Class 1A.
Of
3.
I think that helps them as well.
Quincy High School's in Class 3 of 3.
Correct.
Okay.
And I think it's gonna be a short postseason for the Blue Devils. Just because of the way the bracket sets up.
Yes. Who would they play if they were to win the first game?
If they beat Granite City, they would play number 1 Collinsville.
That'd be tough.
Yeah.
At Collinsville?
No, but it's at one of the Metro East schools.
Yeah, they have to go south.
They'll have to go south.
What is the key for Notre Dame going to be then in order to make you look like a Nostradamus and with the correct prediction?
I truly believe it will be finding somebody to score other than Tanner Anderson.
They've had guys do that, though, this year.
They have, but not as consistently as they've needed to. So I think when you look at it, if you look back, there's some guys that if they emerge here in the postseason, could really push this team to a title. And Leo Cahan's one of them who has gotten better as the year's gone on. He struggled early to finish, has gotten better as the year's gone on. I think he's one of the keys to the postseason because he can be nearly as dangerous as Tanner Anderson in the attacking third. And if teams focus their defensive efforts on stopping Tanner Anderson, Leo Cahan can be the difference maker.
And it sounds like you have no reservations about their defense. Their defense is going to be fine.
Their defense has given up some goals this year. There's no doubt about it. And are they as locked down as I've seen some of their defenses in past years? No. But I think it's a pretty good defense. And I think the fact you have a pretty darn good keeper back there in Max Frericks helps a lot too. And they've got senior experience. Kirk and Hoyt are both seniors. You got John Drew in the middle, who's a senior. You've got Tanner Anderson up front, who's a senior. So
just like all these soccer teams that have gone here through the years, these kids have been playing together since they're like 7 or 8 years old.
Exactly.
I mean, it's
So they've built for this.
Yes, this is what they've done,
and they have a chip on their shoulder because they didn't get there last year, and 2 years ago they didn't get the opportunity to. So there's a chip on their shoulder to finish this thing.
They're getting all the way. Where's State at? Up in Naperville?
No, it is at the East Side Center in East Peoria.
Even better for the people who want to go see it.
Yes. So last time they were there was 2018. The Mitchell Murphy-led crew.
And was that in East Side Center too? Or was that up in Naperville?
No, that was at East Side Center, and they won it. And then in 2019, they took third.
Oh, okay. Shows you, I just figured it was all up in Naperville still.
No, only the girls has played at Naperville.
Okay.
So the boys, the bigger classifications for the boys has played at Hoffman Estates.
Okay. I knew it was north.
And IHSA does a horrible job with that.
Wow.
So I've been there.
A little more shade on the IHSA, huh?
Handle your responsibilities.
Okay, so we got soccer. We got soccer covered.
So
now we're getting in the volleyball postseason. By the way, Mr. Shuckman, you sent me to a heck of a match last week.
I did. You saw one of the best matches of the year.
Holy smokes! And I tell you what, the varsity match wasn't even the best match of the night. And I can't believe I'm sitting here saying this, but the JV match was like an Olympic battle between the two of them.
Really?
Yes, Macomb won that one. But so I was like, boy, if the JV match is just good, then varsity match was just as good. Macomb's good. I think that if they were to play again, though, I would probably think QND will win.
Okay. What makes you say that?
I just think that I don't think Notre Dame passed the ball very well that night. They didn't serve receive very well.
And those have typically been their strengths.
Yeah, and I don't think they were that good that night. The Emma Hoeing girl is phenomenal. Yes. I mean, her serve, if she's on, and she was that night, it's like a knuckler that like drops.
The top spin serve.
Something that and it gets over about halfway down, and the bottom just falls out of it. And I don't think Macomb really had an answer for that. They were.
I haven't seen anyone have an answer for that this year.
I mean, she's good. The freshman Eva Breckenkamp played really well that night in the middle. They got Abby Schreck's been their leading skill person all season. She did next to nothing in that game, and I'm not killing her about that. She just that was just not her night.
Right.
But I think that they have too many weapons. If they handle the if they pass a little bit better, I think that they beat Macomb
because their setter is pretty darn good.
Yes, Annie Eaton's a difference maker.
Annie Eaton.
She is smart too. You can tell that she sees things before they happen.
And I know she's talked to some players. Fact of the matter is, Quincy's had a run of Quincy in general because you had both Quincy High and Notre Dame have had a run of very good setters in the last decade or so. Hannah Kvitley, Kristen Gennebacher, who both played Division I. And I know there's been conversations have been had that Annie could reach that level if she continues to progress because she sees the game so well.
She's a heck of an athlete. And she's not very tall, but she was blocking shots the other night and everything.
Oh, she gets up. She does a great job at the net.
Yeah, she was a special player. So I just think that Notre Dame, and again, Macomb has some very talented players as well. That Kennedy Adair she was a phenomenal hitter. But I think that Notre Dame just has a little bit too much, and if they played a little bit better up to their capabilities, I think they win that one.
I think they got a legitimate chance to make a run.
But here in the home of the Muddy River, we've got a couple teams that could wind up all the way to Bloomington Normal.
Well, and the interesting thing in the Class 1A, Southeastern, which has been very good, Unity, which has been dynamite, both go different directions in the postseason.
Do we have the pairings yet, or do we have the
yes, the pairings are out.
Pairings are out, okay.
Yes.
All right, so those two would go different ways.
Yes, so I think
the earliest would probably meet in the sectional somewhere, right?
I believe they would end up meeting in the sectional final. I think Unity and Southeastern, I believe they would meet in the Super. I think it's a lot like basketball where Liberty and Southeastern met in the Super.
All right.
I think the same will hold true for volleyball. And the other one to keep your eye on, it could pull an upset or two along the way, is Illini West. Illini West has been playing really well. Beat Hannibal on Monday night this week at Hannibal. And it's been tough. And they got some hitters. So I think anyone who just goes, well, it's Notre Dame and Macomb.
Yeah.
Watch out because, there's going to be teams wanting to pull an upset.
Yeah.
So
when does that start? Does it start this week or next week? Or 2
no,
weeks?
2 weeks.
2 weeks. So we got a while until.
But this week we have soccer starts, and softball on the Missouri side. Districts start on Wednesday.
Anybody's
Canton's 21-6.
They're not bad.
Their district it'll come down to them in North Shelby. And Monroe City is the number 1 seed in its district. I don't know if we got a team that can make a legitimate run to get to the Final Four or maybe win a title.
So nobody has a dominant picture out there that's just killing everybody.
No, not that I've been able to see. I think Canton might have the best chance, but they have to get by a very good North Shelby team if they're going to do that in districts. So it'll be interesting to see how that is, and we're winding down with football as well. We're in the final 2 weeks of the
football to talk about.
Well, we're down to the final 2 weeks of the regular season.
Okay, so obviously last week was our soccer edition, and 2 weeks ago we talked a little bit about the paths for both Quincy High and Notre Dame, and I think they're both still on the same paths that we talked about.
I think so too.
Notre Dame didn't get a win in either one of those 2 games since.
No, they have to win their final 2 games.
I think they will
to get into the postseason.
I don't think it's. I mean.
And that's no guarantee.
Granite City lost 59-0 to Breeze.
Yes,
Mater Dei.
They're going to win this week at Granite City.
Yes.
Then the kicker is on October 22nd, Saturday afternoon at John Burroughs, and John Burroughs was 2-4 going into last week. Mm-hmm. I don't know how to measure that one, but if Notre Dame can find some offense, it'll give itself a chance.
I mean, last week their defense played really well against Normal West.
And that's 2 weeks in a row because their defense, I know, gave up 35 points, but it played well and had 4 turnovers.
Yes,
against Muhammad Seymour.
They had 3 turnovers. They forced 3 turnovers. Was it 2 interceptions and a fumble, or 2 fumbles and an interception? I can't remember because I'm getting old. But anyway, it was 3 turnovers. In all those 3 possessions, they got 1 first down. Obviously, no points because they didn't score points in the entire game.
Right.
They had 1 first down after those possessions. So they weren't. Yes.
10 quarters.
10 quarters.
Since an offensive touchdown.
Second quarter of the Breeze Mater Dei game at home, because they did score twice in the second half of that game, but they're both interception returns for a touchdown.
Right.
Just like at Muhammad, they had Dalton Miller had an interception return for a touchdown.
They did kick a field goal at Muhammad.
Yes.
But they have not had an offensive touchdown.
Correct.
In 10 quarters.
That's not good.
No, that's not good. So
but I think that comes to an end on
now.
Friday
The other
night.
part of this you got to remember is 5 wins gets you playoff eligible. It doesn't guarantee you get in.
I think their points are going to be pretty decent.
Via playoff points, they'll be okay.
Yes,
but you gotta throw that caveat out there, because what happens if when they start breaking things down, the HSA starts breaking things down, and they're on that limbo edge?
Well, they've got 3 teams that aren't going to accumulate very many points for them at all, and Hayti, Granite, and John Burroughs,
right. and Alleman.
Alleman, that's right. Yeah, they're going to have 1 playoff point from them.
Yeah, so you got Alleman has 1 victory.
Yes.
Hayti has 1. Granite has 0.
Burroughs has 2.
2.
And that's maybe all you're going to get out of them.
Right.
So there's 4
Quincy
points.
High having success helps.
So if you're a Notre Dame fan, you're rooting for Quincy High to win this weekend next week.
Oh, no doubt.
Especially week 9. I mean, I think they're going to win. I mean, nothing against Rock Island Allman, Saturday night's a foregone conclusion.
Yeah, I was going to say there's no thinking they're going to win. They're going to win Saturday.
They won that, and I think they have a very good chance of beating Rocky here week 9.
I think so too. Which will make it interesting, because that would mean 7-2 with a fair amount of playoff points. Could they end up getting a home game?
Could they get a home game, and who are they going to play?
Yeah,
you know who.
I know who.
Reed and I were talking about this. We had a lot of window time.
I see the smile on your face, so I know exactly where you're going with this.
East Side High.
That would be interesting.
Could you imagine?
Well, because here's the deal. Everybody's talking about, because East St. Louis is the number 1 ranked team in the state and everything. But when it comes to the IHSA playoffs,
doesn't matter.
That doesn't matter. It's record. And Eastside has gone and played some teams on a national scale. And they've lost those games. 2 losses.
2 losses.
So what if you have 7-2 against 7-2?
I mean, it's very possible.
It's very possible.
And so I was saying to Reed, I said, where would you rather
So this would be in Class 6A, by the way, just so people understand.
Yes, because
Quincy High School is a Class 6A school.
Yes. So I said to Reed, where would you rather see that game at? Would you rather see that at Eastside or at Flynn? He goes, well, for the guys, I'd want to have it at Flynn. But if we're going to go, I'd want to go to Eastside. Because one of my and I don't know if I told this story on here or not, but we went to an Eastside playoff game in 2019.
Okay.
When they played Chatham Glenwood in the state semifinals.
Right.
they boat raced him. I mean, it was Tyler Macon, who should be the Mizzou quarterback, that he was their quarterback at the time. They had Luther Burden was an underclassman at the time.
Yep.
Oh my God, they were so good.
Yes.
They are phenomenal. They had this kid who's a senior now, this 330-pound offensive lineman who's going to SEC somewhere, I'm sure. He was there. They party in the. I mean, they're not. IHSA playoffs are supposed to be everything's buttoned down, and you're supposed to be like this. They have their DJ going up in the booth. They're selling big old things of chicken out in the parking lot. There's tailgating going on. It was fabulous. It was one of the funnest times I've ever had at a high school football game.
Last time I was at East St. Louis for a football game was 2003.
Yes. Was that? Yes.
Quincy played there in the playoffs. The first playoff appearance since 74, or since 86. They've gone 74, 86, and then 2003. And it was a game. It was 13-3 at half.
Was Clyde B. Jordan Stadium open by then?
Yes.
But it wasn't turf back then, but it was.
No, because it was a muddy mess.
Yes. No, it's a nice turf facility. I mean, it's, you think about, and unfortunately, when you think East St. Louis, you think about dilapidation and poverty. But and I don't mean to be mean.
No, because
that's what you think about.
Well, and because it is one of the most in the nation, one of the most poverty-stricken cities in America.
Yes, but they've got a really nice football facility.
They do. Well, and they've had some incredible athletes come through there. People who have done well for themselves. Mm-hmm. Jackie Joyner-Kersee.
Yeah, Brian Cox.
Yes. So there are some people who have invested in that community to help that out, and do things good for the kids of that community.
Boy, can you imagine an ESL QHS playoff game?
That'd be fun.
That would be fun. Mr. Shuckman, can I cover that for you? You have to see what else is going on that day.
We'll see. You'll be doing something that day, I'm sure. But no, I mean, Quincy High. I had somebody ask me this today. Is Quincy High good? And I was like, yes, they are. Like, yes. I pointed out that they hadn't even played Alleman so far. They're 5-2, mm-hmm. and somebody didn't realize that. They thought one of those wins already was against Alleman. And I said, what you don't realize is how good this team is, how well these players understand the game. Mm-hmm. And we've talked a lot about Braden Little in that sense, and his ability to read defenses and ability to understand where to throw the ball and all those things. But his receivers understand that too. His linemen understand that too. Mm-hmm. You're going to be able to read about the linemen later this week at Muddy River Sports.
Give him the big uglies up front some love.
Got it. So
they deserve it.
They do.
But yes,
they've earned it.
Yes. I mean, but as good as they are right now, they are going to be scary good next year.
Another year of experience with basically everybody back almost. I mean, pretty much.
You're going to lose Brian Douglas and running back.
You're going to lose Gregory Quince.
Gregory Quince is one of the receivers. But on the flip side of that, you get Aiden Byquist back next year, hopefully. Yep. So they're going to be good. They're good now. The big game in the Big Six this weekend is Moline-Sterling.
Correct.
I believe at Moline.
Yes, it's at Browning.
I'm picking Moline in that one. I
am too.
I just think that their offense is like nothing you ever seen, and the reason I'm picking them because they're going to have the best player on the field, and that's that Riley Fuller, the running back, who is the best player. Probably obviously
he was the best player on the field when they played Quincy.
Yes, and obviously Charles, whose name I can't pronounce, from Alleman is the best player in the league. The lineman who's going to University of Notre Dame. Yes, I get that, but the best skill position player in that league is Riley Fuller from Moline, and I think that's why they're going to go over.
I think the way they run their offense and as good as their offensive line is, mm-hmm. I think that gives them the edge, and the Maroons the edge in this.
I would have to say that, not that there are any betting lines and over-unders for high school games.
No, there's not.
Whatever the over is, I would take the over because I think it's going to be a lot of scoring.
Okay.
I can foresee a lot of scoring. That's not to diss either one of those two teams' defense. I just think the offenses are both pretty darn good.
And you've seen them both.
Yeah.
You've seen both offenses, so, I mean.
Yep.
You should have a good grasp of that.
Yes, so I think Moline and that will put them firmly in the driver's seat for a WB6 crown.
Yeah. Interesting.
I got a question for you.
What's that?
We've been talking a lot of soccer lately.
We have been.
And I texted you about a sport, about a team that I've probably not texted you about in years. But when I saw the decision come out on Sunday, I'm like, wait a minute. The gold standard for Quincy soccer is and probably always has been and probably always will be Quincy University and what it was able to do. Of course, it's been 50 years now since 50 years since their reign of national titles has ended. But that's what Quincy University is known for, by and large, is soccer.
There is still, you could go places throughout this country in soccer communities.
Yes.
And you mention Quincy University or Quincy College.
Yes.
People automatically will bring up the soccer dynasty.
Yes.
You know, the NAIA national championships were one thing, but they've had success at the D2 level. It's been 8 years since they went to the D2 Final Four. But even at the D2 level, they've continued to have success.
And they lost the game 7-0. And I had to say to you, I was like, because again, I don't know all the
to Illinois Springfield.
I don't know all the rules.
And I believe Illinois Springfield was a 3-3-1 team in the league coming in.
So it's not like it was the number one team in the nation or anything.
No, it wasn't. Not even the number one team in the league.
How does that happen?
I don't know. There's a myriad of things that can happen that create a lopsided loss like that.
Yes.
In-game stuff. A red card where you end up down a man, that can happen. Injuries.
Yep.
Where you're forced to put people in that aren't prepared to play.
Mm-hmm.
Even with those, it's still hard to fathom a team losing 7-0.
Yes.
The only thing I can think of, and I have not talked to Mike Carpenter, the QU men's soccer coach this week. The only thing I could fathom is that the players tanked it. They gave up as that game went on.
I mean, that's just something you don't see. 7-0.
No.
For that program.
Just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Most goals allowed in a game in school history. I believe it tied one other time they had allowed 7.
I would have been surprised by that too. So anyway, I just thought that was an odd result, if you will.
It's an odd result, and it's been a very disappointing year for the Hawks.
Yeah.
I mean, they haven't won a GLVC game yet.
Tied once.
0-7-1 in GLVC play. Not pretty.
What about for the football? What about for the American football team over there? They got a big win last weekend.
They did. They played well in the played really well in the second half. Coming off a disappointing loss at Missouri S&T in the first GLVC game of the year, they needed that. They needed something to really spark them. 5 GLVC games left. Next 2 weeks are on the road. They go to McKendree this week, and then the University of Indianapolis next week. Which UIndy is a top 10 team in the nation. Yeah. So that
this week is very important.
So this week is very important. You know, see if you can go to
and McKendree's the one they totally melted down against last year. Correct.
Yes, correct. So this is a game. If you can go and win, you get to the 4-win mark. The next 2 weeks are really tough.
Truman after
Truman follows UIndy. So, but the Truman game is at home on October 29th, I believe, is the date. And then you close with Southwest Baptist and William Jewell. 2 games. If you're playing well, you could win.
So, for all intents and purposes, Saturday is for either 6-5 or 5-6.
You would think. And if you lose Saturday, you better hope you get those last 2.
Yeah.
Because you don't want this to turn into a tailspin.
Yeah. Because then all of a sudden you're playing 2 really good teams and you could be a 3-game losing streak, and then by that time people are just like, done.
Right.
Let's get on to
this is a critical game in the progress of this program.
Which should be an interesting one.
Yeah. And you're going to see an interesting one Friday night.
What am I going, Mr. Shuckman? What's my assignment? I don't know what my assignment is.
You're
Friday
headed
night.
to the other side of the Mississippi for the first time this year. You went to Hannibal, didn't you?
I did go to Hannibal at Troy, which is a fantastic game.
But you're going to one of the area schools this week. You're going to see the Clarence Cannon Conference Championship game, Monroe City against Macon.
At
Langford Field.
You almost said Ray Langford Field. Because I've called it Ray Langford Field forever.
Yes, you have. And I almost said the same thing.
Yes. Langford Field.
Yes.
Boy, that'll be a dandy.
It should be a dandy.
Because Macon is really good.
Macon's really good. Monroe City is the number 1 ranked team in the state in Class 1, and they're really good. You're going to see some athletes.
I need to talk to Stevie Dirt to see what I should eat pregame. He's been over there, hasn't he?
He has.
Yeah.
So he went over there for the Mayor's Cup.
Okay. Yeah, that probably wasn't much of a game.
It wasn't.
Palmyra's struggling this year.
Palmyra is.
So who's winning that game? Do you?
I'm going with Monroe City.
You're gonna go with the home standing Monroe.
Waylon DeGrave with the game-winning touchdown.
Okay.
There's my prediction.
I'm gonna be like Kirk Herbstreit and not take a game because I'll be covering, or take a team because I'll be covering it. I don't know who's who, but
my plan on Friday night will be at Advanced Physical Therapy Field. For a soccer regional championship.
There you go. Oh, but now they got to get past Abington Avon.
Yes.
I didn't know Abington Avon even had soccer.
I don't know if they
technically do.
Yeah.
Is there a turbo rule in soccer in Illinois or not?
There's a mercy rule. The second half, if you're up by 7, it gets cut in half.
So that's going to happen.
Yes.
That's Tuesday night.
Yeah,
so,
as we tape this, that game will be tonight. As we tape this on Tuesday afternoon. So when you listen to this, you can read about the game on Muddy River Sports.
There you go.
Because we'll have full coverage of it. We're gonna do what we did last year. As we go into the postseason. Last year with our teams in basketball and in the spring and soccer and baseball, we had 4 teams that reached the Final Four in their respective classifications, and we did commemorative special sections for them.
So if Notre Dame gets all the way to the state,
if they get to the Final Four, and that goes for any of the teams in our area, the plan will be to do a special section.
Those are nice. They're very well done. That'd be good. So you got, and then Saturday. Any big games on Saturday at all?
Actually, not. It's kind of quiet around here on Saturday.
You can take a breath.
Some district softball championships, weather permitting.
Yes.
Because I know there's supposed to be more rain as the week goes on, so that'll mess with district softball schedules. So if they got to get things pushed back, we'll see if they actually get to the championships on Saturday. I think the way the weather is forecasted, it'll be for rain on Wednesday, some potential rain on Thursday. If they can't play district openers until Friday, I would assume they would push
go back to back.
No? I don't think they will. I think they would play semifinals on Saturday and championships on Monday.
Well, just move them all to Hannibal in that beautiful field they've got there now.
Those facilities at Hannibal are awesome.
I've only seen it on video through TV through the 7 and 10, but wow. The softball complex, I saw it the other night.
Yeah.
The Lady Pirates are playing a home game. It looked great.
And they have a new turf field for soccer as well at Veterans Field, out by Veterans Elementary School.
Clint Graham's just a mover and a shaker, isn't he?
Coach Graham gets it done. Wow. I said that to somebody the other day. Called him Coach Graham, and they looked at me and they didn't know who I was talking about. And I had to explain that athletic director Clint Graham at Hannibal High School used to coach as well.
Yes.
And they were, oh, really?
They had no idea.
He's such a big shot now that
he's the big man on campus.
He is. So that'll be good. I mean, it's so we'll see. I mean, Saturday could be, who knows, maybe a trip.
So it's going to be the calm before the storm, though, because the following Saturday you're going to have playoff pairings announced. You're going to have
our sectional soccer championship,
soccer playing.
Yeah.
You're going to have, and then the following weekend is going to be a lot of playoff football games,
yep.
And then after that you've got state soccer going on. You're going to have volleyball teams playing.
The next month is going to be busy.
Mr. Shuckman, are you going to need some help somewhere along the way?
I think before basketball starts, we will be putting you to work.
As long as it falls outside of my hours with the Better Business Bureau, I'm here to serve you, sir.
I know you are. I would never interfere with the BBB.
I had fun going.
Because I'm down with the BBB.
Yeah, you know me. That's you down with DOB. Yeah, you know me.
Yeah.
That volleyball match I covered was probably the first one this century that I've been to.
Because the last one on the high school level I remember you covering was Quincy High School at the state tournament in 1999.
And I had that, like, Eric Irvin had to show me, like...
you guys went to a restaurant, and he used the salt and pepper shakers.
And to show me how volleyball was... Because I don't pay to that. I pay attention to that. Not the most out of place I've ever been. The most out of place I've ever been covering something was covering state wrestling back in 97 or 98. I had no idea about. I still can't tell you how points are scored in wrestling.
Really?
But I figured out what a wrestleback was then. It was like Jermaine Dade's sophomore year. Because he and a couple of the other guys from Quincy High made it over, so we thought it was pretty important since it was the first time.
I think Sam Smith took second in state in 1998.
Yeah, so there was that group.
Yes.
And So I covered them, and I had no idea what I was doing. But, it's all about writing about the kids and the people anyway. So, but that was the most fish out of water I ever felt, which was weird because I'm a wrestling fan. But it's not the same wrestling.
Not the same kind of wrestling.
Not the same wrestling.
For me, it would have been when I was working in Columbia.
The most out of place you've ever
The
felt?
most out of place I felt was covering the state swimming championships in Columbia.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's swimming. It's up and, it's timed and everything. But I had never covered a swim meet.
Yeah.
So I was just out of sorts and out of place.
Mm-hmm. You got it done, though. You got
Got
the
it done,
story
of course.
You didn't drown.
Because those Hickman swimmers were good.
The Cupies?
The Cupies.
Great name.
Fantastic nickname. We might have to talk nicknames on one of these shows.
Oh, yes. We'll have to do that.
Do that.
All right. Well, we're up on the 45-minute mark. So
Okay, we
stop
should probably
this.
shut it down then, shouldn't we? Well, it was fun breaking it down this week.
Hey, happy birthday month to you.
And happy birthday month to you.
If you see me or Chuck around, you want to give us a birthday present, we won't say no.
That's right. Give DOB a big hug. He deserves it.
You need a hug after all your team's losing last weekend.
Oh, Saturday was brutal.
And Leeds let you down on your first time.
Oh, I know.
You got out to a 1-0 lead and you blew it.
Tyler steered me wrong, I think.
Nah, stay with him.
I will. I got my scarf.
Did you get your scarf?
I got my scarf.
Oh, I need to see a photo of the scarf.
Okay, I'll send you a photo of the scarf.
All right.
All right.
Please be wearing clothes while you send me that photo. I don't need that. And so everybody that knows you is listening has a mental image.
No one needs that.
Michelle doesn't even need that.
No, she doesn't.
Not for her 12th anniversary.
No. Oh, thanks for breaking it down this week.
All right, buddy.
This has been the Muddy River Breakdown with Chuck Daddy and DOB. Join us again next week.
Break it down.
Muddy River Sports. Our home, our sports.